I am enough. I am worthy. I am confident. You've said these words, maybe in the mirror, maybe in your head, maybe written in a journal. And you're waiting for them to work, waiting to feel different, waiting to believe them. But you don't, not really. Affirmations are everywhere. Self-help gurus swear by them. Studies claim they rewire your brain. The internet tells you to repeat them until they become true. But for a lot of people, they don't work. And it's not because you're doing them wrong. It's because affirmations aren't designed for the way your brain actually processes truth. This is the psychology of affirmations and why they backfire more often than they help. Your brain has a built-in lie detector. When you say, "I am confident," but you don't feel confident, your brain notices the gap and it rejects the statement. This is called the credibility gap, and it's why affirmations can make you feel worse, not better. Psychologists have studied this. When people with low self-esteem repeat positive affirmations, they often experience a decrease in mood, not an increase. Because every time you say, "I am worthy," your brain pulls up evidence to the contrary. It remembers the rejection, the failure, the moment you felt small. And instead of overwriting those memories, the affirmation just highlights them. You're not building confidence, you're reinforcing doubt. This doesn't mean affirmations never work. For people who already believe the statement or are close to believing it, affirmations can strengthen that belief. But if the gap between what you're saying and what you believe is too wide, the affirmation becomes a reminder of everything you're not. You don't need to repeat a lie until it becomes true. You need a truth you can actually believe. And that's where most affirmation practices fall apart. Affirmations are comforting because they give you something to do. You feel anxious? Say an affirmation. You feel inadequate? Repeat a mantra. You feel stuck? Write it down 10 times. It feels productive, like you're taking action. But you're not changing your circumstances. You're not addressing the root cause. You're just managing the discomfort. This is called the illusion of control, and it's one of the reasons affirmations are so popular. They let you feel like you're working on yourself without actually doing the hard work. Real confidence doesn't come from repeating, "I am confident." It comes from doing things that prove to yourself you're capable. Real worthiness doesn't come from saying, "I am enough." It comes from living in alignment with your values and seeing the evidence over time. Affirmations skip the evidence-gathering phase. They try to install the belief without the foundation, and your brain knows the difference. This doesn't mean affirmations are useless, but they're not a replacement for action. They're not a shortcut to self-belief. They're a tool. And like any tool, they only work if you're using them in the right context. If traditional affirmations don't work, what does? The research points to a few alternatives that are more effective and more honest. Self-compassion over self-praise. Instead of "I am confident," try "I'm learning," and that's enough for now. Instead of "I am successful," try "I'm doing my best with what I have." These statements don't trigger the credibility gap because they're true. You are learning, you are trying, and your brain can accept that. Questions over declarations. Instead of "I am worthy," ask, "What would it look like if I acted like someone who was worthy?" Questions engage your brain differently. They don't demand belief, they invite exploration. And that exploration can lead to action, which builds real evidence. Process-focused affirmations. Instead of "I am confident," try "I'm building confidence through practice." This acknowledges where you are now while pointing toward where you're going. It's not a lie, it's not a leap, it's a bridge. And bridges work better than affirmations that ask you to leap a gap you're not ready to cross. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Affirmations can't fix what action needs to address. If you don't believe you're capable, repeating, "I am capable," won't change that. But doing something difficult and succeeding, even in a small way, will. If you don't believe you're worthy, saying it won't make it true, but setting a boundary and honoring it will. Affirmations are a starting point, not a destination. They can help you practice a thought. They can remind you of an intention. They can soften the inner critic just enough to take the next step, but they're not magic, and they're not a replacement for the hard, slow, unglamorous work of becoming the person you want to be. You don't need to convince yourself you're already there. You need to give yourself permission to be where you are and keep moving. That's the real work, and it doesn't fit in a daily affirmation.